You're listening to BQN. Assimilate the audio.
Welcome, listeners, to another episode of All Good Things, a Star Trek Universe podcast here on BQN and the Fandom Podcast Network. I am your host, Amy, and with me today we have Mark, Kristin, and Kelvin. Hello there, Mark. How are you today?
Hey, Amy, it's so great to see you. Welcome back to the pod.
Oh my gosh, it has been a while. I have been traveling, but it's so good to be back. And Kristin, welcome.
Hello. Oh my goodness. I am so excited to be here and so excited to have you back. It has been a long hiatus, so it's great to see your face again.
Yes, thank you for covering and, getting the show coming out each and every week. It's been so nice to not really worry about it and know that we're still having a good quality podcast. So thank you. And Kelvin, my love, how are you?
No, as Christos says, the kids have been in charge for the last few weeks. So mother's back. She's taking back the reins. No, it's been great, but yeah, we're really happy to have you back. I'm a little bit delicate today. You're going to have to bear with me. I'm fresh out of the party at Destination Star Trek here in the UK. So I've raced down the motorway to make it back to record with you guys today. And I'm just as happy to see you guys as I've had a lovely weekend with the UK Trek family.
Yes. Well, that leads us to our great joy and gratitude segment, which is my favorite segment.
Great joy and gratitude.
So, Kelvin, tell us about Destination. Where was it? About how many fans were there? Just give us an idea.
Yeah. So a bit like Creation, Destination Star Trek lost its official status 2 years ago. So the convention has been continuing on a much smaller scale with a lot of volunteers, but so it's really been stripped back. It moves around the UK. Sometimes it's London. It tends to be Birmingham, which is in the Midlands. But this time we were in the Northwest, which is where I live. And so it was only an hour away from Manchester in a seaside town called Blackpool. And it was in a very old hotel called the Norbreck Castle. And it actually looks like a castle from the outside. Now, don't let that excite you too much because it's very dilapidated and run down and budget, shall we call it?
Oh,
however, it didn't matter one jot because a little bit like the Rio, once you're there with all the people you love, it's great. So guest-wise, I know I got Kristin very excited last week when I was giving the lineup. So many people cancelled. So Andy Robinson cancelled, Connor Trinier cancelled, Babs cancelled from Strange New Worlds. So we did have Robbie McNeil, Tim Russ, Armin Shimmerman, Robert O'Reilly, Christina Chong as a very last-minute substitution, and Marina. She came to her local, and she was just Marina, as always. So yeah, it was great. Just a few science talks, the vendors hall. We didn't do any autographs, photographs. We've done all that. We were just sitting in the bar, talking Trek with the gays. And I've had 3 nights out in a row. So thank God you can't see the bags under my eyes. But I'm grateful for all of it.
Oh my gosh. Yep. That sounds amazing. I still want to make it over there, do a destination one of these years. I keep going over there to visit you, just not the Star Trek convention.
Well, it's at the end of August next year.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, they change the dates. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, a lot. Not like STLV where it just moves a week or so. It's usually a completely different month. But again, it depends on available event space, I guess.
Yeah. Well, very good. I am very grateful and have joy for the upcoming Star Trek Las Vegas. I know we're not supposed to call it STLV, but it's just with us because they lost the official license. So that is happening at the Rio. The Rio has been redone. It's been refurbished, and they've got new restaurants in there because, man, it was difficult to find food. So I'm looking forward to trying all the restaurants. They've redone the wine bar, which I'm very excited, going Saturday night with a group of people. And but yeah, people are already starting to come in. The convention doesn't even start till Wednesday night. I guess you can get a preview, but Thursday through Sunday, and people are already here. I've had lots of dinners, and I'm myself checking in on Tuesday, and will stay till the following Monday. So that will be my last big vacation, and then I can start thinking about school. So yes. Well, Kristin, any great joy and gratitude for you?
Actually, quite a bit this week. One was, of course, I got my haul from Her Universe, so I'm very pleased with all the wares that I got. Other than that, I had a very nice little solo Trek themed evening the other night when Justin had a show. I just didn't feel like being around people. Mm-hmm. So I stayed at home on my own, and I just put on Lower Decks, had a little glass of wine, and worked on my next Trek Made Me Gay cross stitch that the requests are rolling in for. So that was just a lovely, lovely evening. Just, yes, I was alone, but sometimes that's okay.
Yes.
And then the other great joy and gratitude is all week this week, I have been binging All Good Things and season 1 of The View Screen at work. So I just have it playing in the background while I'm doing work. And man, The View Screen season 1 was so good. It was, I am just blown away by the quality of the guests that were there, the conversations. I think the episode that I ended with on Friday was the one with Mr. Christian Carter, talking about all the amazing wares out there. And that was the one that aired on the Sunday before we all left for the cruise. And so
yes,
my heart was so full with all those memories this week. It was lovely.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, that's so. Even I haven't rewatched A View Screen.
Oh, because there were a lot of topics that came up too. So I just wanted to review and look at the different, news segments and how things have progressed from there. Some of the discussions about the books coming out and where I am. So it actually clued to me that a new book came out this week or last week. So I ran to my local bookstore and picked that up. So yeah, there's just a lot of good reminders of things to watch for and talk about and purchase, of course.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was just a really nice flashback. It walked down memory lane, but I loved it.
Wow. Oh, that's so nice to hear. Listeners, we are planning a season 2 for The View Screen. So that's coming up in September. So you can watch and wait.
I may have bagged a few guests this weekend at Destination Trek.
Oh, good. Very good.
Did you bag Armin Shimmerman?
Okay, let's not go into like the Trek family, not the Trek royalty. Although there are a few queens coming.
Amazing.
Yay. Well, Mark, how's your great joy and gratitude doing?
Oh man, the other day I went a little nutty. I binged I spent a couple days in a row binging multiple episodes of Prodigy. So that's been fun being able to do that without really the fear of it ending quickly, because they recorded, they filmed 20 episodes. So it's nice. It's nice to have that buffer where, a lot of the newer Trek with the 10 episodes, it's like, okay, I don't want to go too fast, because then done. But I'm over the mid-season hump at this point with Prodigy. So, Anyway, I don't want to throw out spoilers, but it's so good. Loving it.
Oh, I have not, and I'm gonna have my truck card revoked. I've not watched it, and I wonder if because I'm not podcasting, like I used to, here we had our escape pod, like because it's not coming out weekly, and I'm not being forced is the wrong word, but being forced to watch it because I'm going to be covering it on a podcast. It's been very difficult. And Davey thankfully has put together a couple of hive minds with our Patreons and listeners. And I have not been able to join. One, I have been busy, but I haven't even watched them. Oh, I'm so terrible. So terrible. I need to fix that. I do. I really do.
I've only watched 2 episodes.
Oh, okay.
So you're not, there's not that
Okay.
much difference. Yeah.
Okay.
Deep breath.
And I only finished it on Thursday, so I made it last as well. A bit like what Mark just said, I've been rationing it, wanting to savor it. So yeah, don't beat yourself up, Amy.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, good. Well, we did get some new trailers that were announced and dropped at the San Diego Comic-Con. So the 2 trailers, Lower Decks and Section 31. Have you had a chance to watch them? What are your feelings? Lower Decks, final season. It was pretty cute there. Mark, what'd you think?
So I've seen the 2 trailers I saw the Strange New Worlds sort of preview, Vulcan-centric preview that they did. And then I've seen Section 31. And Section 31, it made me want another series. I'm like, why don't they make this a series? Because it was supposed to be. And then they made it a movie. But I'm hoping they revert and go back to a series. Because it looks so good and oh my god, like a spy thriller action adventure. Philippa Georgiou's back. Oh my god, and it looks yummy.
Thank you for reminding me that it's not going to be a series, because I was watching it going, this is going to be so good. And again, I was like, why is this feeling like a movie? This is going to be a series. I totally forgot, but it looks magnificent. Kristin, your thoughts?
Mm-hmm.
Just like Mark, I actually haven't seen the Lower Decks preview. I too have seen the Strange New Worlds and the Section 31. So I need to go dig up that Lower Decks preview. But the Section 31 movie, I agree, looks phenomenal. And the Strange New World, the premise of the particular episode they clipped, looks absolutely hilarious. For any of those who haven't watched it, go watch it immediately, because the ongoing joke throughout even just that tiny clip was so funny. And there's something about the chemistry of that cast. They really did a good job at casting them, and they've done a good job at creating really good relationships. So the on screen, it just works. Everything about that show works.
I apparently have missed the Strange New World. I'm going to have to dig that one up.
I just want to ask Kristin her opinion on the Strange New Worlds, the premise of that episode. So they do turn everybody Vulcans, supposedly, for some reason. And then their costumes look like that. I think that this is like one of those Who Watches the Watchers kind of things.
I think so.
I think they're going down to a planet where it's Vulcans, but they haven't evolved, and that's why they all have to be in disguise.
There's a prime directive happening. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's good.
That's what I'm assuming. But those costumes, stop it. Amazing.
Oh my God.
Just gorgeous costumes. So I'm looking at it. I'm like, I wonder how hard that would be to make.
Right?
Probably very, considering I don't sew.
Yeah, probably.
Yes. And what about some of the other news that came out, like the Star Trek live action comedy from Alex Kurtzman, Justin Simien, and Tawny Newsome was announced that they're looking to work on.
Like a Parks and Recreation style feel to it.
And it's on a pleasure planet. It's like on Risa. It takes place on like a pleasure planet.
Yeah.
It looks so. It's on on Tawny's Instagram if you want to take a little peek at it. And it's. I mean, is it going to be traditional Trek? No, but neither was Lower Decks, and look how well that turned out. So, I just want to kind of preface this with people, just keep your opinions to yourself until it actually starts to roll.
I'm thinking it's going to be like Baywatch or Love Boat, but as like a comedy. And with Trek, I don't know. I'm feeling all of the feels because you're going to get like some sexy aliens. I don't care if they're green, whatever. It's gonna be cool. I'm very excited. Tawny Newsome, come on, she's gonna kill it.
She's gonna kill it. I would kind of love to see this being a mockumentary, like The Office or What We Do in the Shadows kind of thing, and just these cameras following them around. Could you imagine that with just calamity after calamity on Risa happening?
I got images of like the staff on Risa, and they're going around saying all that is ours is yours and being really nice to all the customers, and then closes the door and go, oh my god, these entitled Federation people, and that could be really bitter and horrible.
Oh, that's like White Lotus vibes. Can you imagine the White Lotus as like Trek? Okay, I'm excited. This is about the most exciting thing ever. This is going to be amazing.
Well, this is our reality. So whether or not they actually do this. So Tawny, if you're listening today, here are some ideas. Because she listens every week, right?
Every week.
So this wasn't like, well, I guess this was kind of in the news, but somebody had posted, actually it was Thad had posted about Alex Kurtzman paying the salaries of the writers during the writers' strike, and it had just come out now that he had done that. And we kind of had a little bit of a mini discussion of whether or not that would have happened during the Berman era, and kind of came to the conclusion that it probably would not have happened. And it just shows how much he cares about the writing team and whatnot, and the Trek family. And it was really living those values and bringing that to what he does for his work. So a lot of the fandom wants to pile on Kurtzman constantly, but look at him right now, like sort of practicing what he preaches, or living that Trek life and taking care of those less fortunate. So you gotta give it to the guy for at least doing that. That's cool.
Yeah. And then there was also some really cool news this week. I feel like we're doing the view screen. There's some really fun news this week too about Starfleet Academy casting a bunch of new people, including Tig Notaro and Oded Fehr, Mary Wiseman, and Robert Picardo are all going to be on Starfleet Academy. And they've also cast, and I know he has nothing to do with Trek, but Paul Giamatti, and I am so excited for him to join the Star Trek family. Because does that mean he's going to start going on the cruises? Yes, please.
Right.
Yes, please. So really amazing cast of people who have Trek familiarity to sort of help with that. And apparently they're playing the same, at least Tig and Robert are playing their same characters.
I'm sure Oded Fehr would be Admiral.
And I'm sure Mary, she's Tilly. She can't show up and play someone else. That would be weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they've set her up, so yeah.
Yeah.
And the Doctor makes sense. He's a hologram, so
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to see.
Teacher.
Are they going to de-age him? Like, what are they going to do with it? I honestly don't care. I'm happy to see Robert Picardo back.
They'll do like they did with Q in Picard. They'll just say, I fancied updating my wallpaper or whatever he is. These visual parameters. I'm more experienced and seasoned, and boom, there you go.
I wonder if they're going to find I'm wondering if they're going to find him like pre-burn, where it's like an archival thing that they discover, and they open it up, and the Doctor's programs in there, and they restart it, and he's looking young, and then like you said with Q, then they're just like, okay, it's been this amount of time. Okay, I might as well update. Bloop! And he catches up. But that would be kind of cool.
Someone at Destination on our little roundtable drinks last night said, what if it's the version of the Doctor from Living Witness, the one who was activated in the museum in the future and then left and went to work in a shuttlecraft? So it may be him.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. There's so much. There is a lot of content. There's continuity. There's all sorts of material to pull from to make this show really fantastic.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, let's move on to what we're really here to talk about, and that is time travel, part 9. And we are going to be covering the original series, The City on the Edge of Forever. You know what? On Paramount, they have this as season 1, episode like 29.
Yeah.
Which doesn't make sense, but I guess because they had the cage and...
Well, the cage on IMDb, anyway, the cage is noted as 0. And then it starts 1 after that.
I have this as 28.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. Well, we all know this episode. Paramount's little synopsis says Kirk and Spock go back in time to save McCoy and their own universe. So just tell me, what did you think of when you rewatched this? How do you guys like this episode?
Guardian of Forever. It just brought me back to Discovery episode when we saw the Guardian. It all comes full circle. And the fact that they put in so much effort in Discovery to make it look like this original Guardian, and they use that voice and whatever, it shows how cool Trek is, that it's been around for this much time and we're still sort of mining from it and still within the same universe. Who else can say that? I mean, this is still, you're still connecting tissue between this and the far-flung future of Discovery time. And it's just really cool. And this is always such a fun rewatch. You can see where the intention was when they were making this Trek in the 60s. And then we get to see, when you watch Discovery, what's possible now, paying homage to it. So I don't know. It's fun. I get excited for that.
Yeah. And don't forget as well of the relevance that when we saw the Guardian of Forever in Discovery, Philippa Georgiou just walked through it, and we still were just talking about what's next. It's not yet happened. We've just watched a trailer. The Guardian of Forever is birthing Section 31 movie.
That's true.
This is so relevant.
This is, for me, it's hard to watch just because it is, for me, an emotional episode. I do find that dealing with the fact that this lovely person who had such good intentions in life is, in order to see the future be successful, she has to die. That is a tough premise to work from. So I do always find it very very emotional, but Joan Collins killed it. She is such a queen. And
Dame Joan Collins.
Oh, Dame. Well, I just called her queen, so I actually just gave her a promotion. But she really rocked that part, and altogether the story was so good. It's not hard to see why this is considered one of the best Trek episodes ever.
Well, yeah, I've got to admit, I've not actually done a rewatch in prep, so I'm going on full-on memory mode. But you know what? I struggle a little bit with this, that kind of the love aspect of Kirk and Keeler, because from my understanding of Kirk as a character in the original series in general, he has another woman every week. So what makes this one any special? Now, clearly it is Dame Joan Collins, and I love the fact that she's in Star Trek, but it's just another romance of the week for me. So I don't get the gravitas of a lot of people consider this was Kirk's true love. I get what you say, Kristin, of, you know, a nice person who has to die, and it would have been easier on the story in the timeline if she was a little bit wicked, but no, she's just a nice lady. What I really like about this episode is the whole McCoy accidentally overdosing on the Cordrazine and going crazy and jumping through the Guardian. I mean, that's just wacky. I love it.
I have a bit of a, not a regeneration, just really though, that I want to bring up later in the show about that whole storyline. So thank you for bringing that up, Kelvin.
Well, I found it interesting, and that I wanted to ask you guys, like, and it has to do with time travel. Kirk just so casually, when he sees what this Guardian is, and McCoy goes, well, can't we just go back before McCoy, you know, overdosed there? And I'm like, wait a minute. Does he not know you don't mess with the temporal timeline? Now, was there another timey episode previous, or is this the first account where Kirk's like, oh, let's just go back a few seconds and make this happen? Like, explain that to me, Kelvin.
Right, okay, so it's quite complex, this, and it depends which way you look at it. So strictly speaking, there was a time travel episode in season 1 prior to this. It was Tomorrow is Yesterday, where they go back to 1969 with the pilots, etc., etc. However, in 2024, we now know Kirk's backstory on Strange New Worlds, where he went time traveling with La'an, and that was the alternate version. But La'an ultimately tells him anyway, and they start talking about the temporal prime directive, and I don't think I'm supposed to be told these things. So to directly answer your question, Amy, yes, Kirk does know that he shouldn't do things like this. But is this just Kirk knows the rules and breaks the rules?
What is the guy's specific title in Voyager when they go back to LA in the 90s? What was his title again?
Captain Braxton.
Yeah, but he was the temporal.
He was just captain of the time ship Aeon, but you have the Department of Temporal Investigations. That's Dulmer and Luxley from Trials and Tribulations, and then you have the officer in Tomorrow who comes and has a word with La'an after. So it's all set up and it's all there and it's all been there, retconned. So
and I
where
think
were they?
I think we can see why their job was created, though, was people like Kirk, who's like, oh, I stubbed my toe. I should go back in time and keep myself from stubbing my toe. And they're like, okay, shall we reserve time travel for major incidents? Like the McCoy thing was just, it was ridiculous, and I loved every moment of it, but it was ridiculous.
It was a workplace accident, let's face it.
McCoy was running around like, you're gonna kill me, I'm gonna kill you. There's a lot of killing coming out of his mouth. I was just like, okay, this is odd.
Yeah.
And I think he had like mild, or not so mild, like melanoma. There was something happening with the sores on his face. I was like, he needs to get that looked at.
Looked like some psoriasis that flared up.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so my next question is, again, this whole premise is, okay, one person. Can one person really change the reality that drastically? I mean, when it just was so stark, right when McCoy went through and Uhura lose contact with the ship. And then the Guardian's like, well, there is no ship, you know? And so things have gone seriously wrong because of one person. Like, do you think that all of humanity would be different if you were in a different era? Because that's the premise of the show.
What?
Because McCoy goes back to a different era.
He contaminated the timeline.
Can one person have that much of an effect?
Yeah.
That's what I'm asking. Really?
Yeah. It's just temporal mechanics 101, if we want to go there from Prodigy. It's fundamental to sci-fi of these different quantum realities or different histories, or turn left instead of turn right. And it's such an important message of the choices that you make form the future. And you will have a different future if you didn't make those. But exactly, whether it's the President of the United States, whoever that may be, or our UK Prime Minister, or whether it's just average Joe in the street. If someone got hit by a car and all the traffic stopped and someone was late for a meeting that never happened, and everything filters out. However, what I would like to say is, if you think with Tapestry in Next Generation, Q actually says to Picard, "You're not that important." And when he puts him in the future again and he's the lieutenant, you've still got Data, Worf on the Enterprise. Everything's the same, but he's not the captain. So that would insinuate, Amy, that it's not that big a deal. But I think that was probably just a Q thing. So I agree that it is one person can change an entire timeline.
My thing with Joan Collins' character in this is she goes on to, because she doesn't die, goes on to actually almost create a new political party. It is so that is where her strength and her important nature within the future of humanity comes in, because it was this pacifist movement that she starts that keeps the United States from joining World War II. So if there's any one person who is involved in that big of a historical event, then yes, her death would have a big effect. It's not that she was just a social worker at a shelter for the unhoused, which is what she was. It was that she went on to really big things if the normal timeline hadn't been disrupted. So that's where this big impact comes from.
Well, but in part, like, it's McCoy going back that changed everything.
Yeah, because he kept her from running across the road.
Right.
Let's put a different spin on this. So let's imagine the future should have been that Trump got assassinated the other week. And there is a new president, and there's a period of prosperity for all of America. And then McCoy has gone back in time and accidentally bumped into the shooter who just grazed his ear, and now Trump does become president and he starts a war with China. So it's, that's the kind of timey-wimey thing we're dealing with here.
Yeah.
But we're not equating Joan Collins to Trump, everybody. That's not what's happening here. It's just showing the importance one person can have in the course of history.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. And the examples that we're using are, people of significance. So I can definitely see that. I guess with, Edith Keeler's character is, a woman of the people, that she's not that big of an influence, I guess, at the time. But as to your point, Kristin, she does, her future, if she lives. Okay, I'm seeing that now. Okay.
Don't try to be a great man, just be a man and let history make its mind.
Who said that?
Zephyr Cochrane.
That load of malarkey.
Kristin, did you want to bring up what Kelvin was talking about? Something? Remember, Kristin's like, I'm going to bring it up later.
Oh, okay. So I'll bring up my issue with the whole premise to start with is, okay, so McCoy gets injected with this very powerful drug, obviously, right? So now they're all worried for his health. And so they're like, yes, let's time travel because that fixes all of our problems. But during the couple of days where they're separated in the past, so Kirk and Spock don't realize McCoy's back there. He meets Judith and she starts caring for him. He just needed a nap. He slept in that cot for a couple of days and boom, he was better. So there was no need to time travel in the first place.
Ooh.
Like if you had just taken him to his sick bay, maybe given him a little IV drip and put him to sleep, boom, done. Because Judith is the one that essentially cures McCoy. She with just love and chicken soup, and here we are. He's all better. So the time travel was just completely unnecessary. They blew the whole situation out of control. Just give the human body a minute to do what it does, and we'll be fine. So I had a little bit of a problem with that when I was watching it.
Oh, okay. On that note, Chris, you've already brought up the fact that it's a little frivolous of the reasons why they're going into the Guardian. Whatever. They're essentially watching a clip show on the Guardian, of like these random like things. There's nothing really scientific about it. And they're like, oh, I guess we jump in now. And it's not even like they have like coordinates or something. I think, yeah, this looks good. They're going like visually off of like some cartoons they're watching on the screen. Like, oh yeah, I think I'll jump in now. Yeah, and I was watching that and I was like, oh, I guess that's the best they could do. But I would have liked to have heard, Spock or something be like, okay, they're at, blank, 0.73912 now. Okay,
Yeah.
That would have been cool, but like they're just like, oh look, it's the thing. Let's jump.
But I guess the Guardian is sentient. It's Carl. It's got it's a thing. Whereas not like the Iconian Gateway where you've got to time it right or you're on the wrong planet. So I will forgive them of that.
Oh, Kelvin, thanks for attempting to patch up my headcanon. Appreciate that.
Spock does with his tricorder. Is that what it's called?
The big.
Do you do a Trek podcast, Amy?
Well, I know it's called that on TNG. I'm just not familiar with TOS very much. But yeah, he's like, well, I've timed it, and based off of how long each scene is at, like he does say that, but there's not a lot of like scientific, mathematical to it. He just says, yeah, I've timed it. Yeah.
And I found the Guardian particularly unhelpful. They asked him questions about all this stuff, and he's like, "Oh no, can't do that." Okay, thanks for coming out. This is great. I just found him extremely obnoxious. Yeah.
Yes,
Carl learns. Carl learns. He grows.
Oh,
he was just a little baby Carl at that point.
Oh, I like that. Yeah. Well, let's move into our assimilations and regenerations because, Kristin, I also put that as a regeneration. And like how the Guardian speaks, like I get that you want to speak in riddles, but like there's so much like scripture, I am God feeling to it. And I'm like, you don't need to be quoting the Bible to be sounding I guess
they actually quote the Bible.
I am the Alpha and the Omega. I'm like, really? And being raised reading scriptures.
Same.
So I was like, you can speak in riddles, but you don't need to pull in this scripture verbiage. I just didn't like that.
So I guess we'll go back to simulations. So maybe we'll just finish up regenerations then. So my other regeneration is if they knew that her presence in that timeline was going to cause the issues that it did. So she had to be removed. And if Kirk was in love with her, whatever, just bring her back. Just bring her back to the future. Why did he I bet if you went up to her and said, look, this is the truth, kind of almost like the voyage home type thing. You have that frank conversation. I'm from the future. Your vision of the future actually does come to fruition, but you can't be around to see it because of X, Y, and Z. Why don't you just come back with me where your views will be appreciated and whatnot? So I don't know why they just didn't bring her back with them. That was, I'm sitting there going, what the heck?
I've never considered that. That is amazing. So good. I don't like the fact that really what it's actually saying is pacifism is a bad thing, you know, or in this case, it was bad for the US. I think it's a bit preachy about conflict, defense, attack, guns. It's not for me. I am a pacifist. I agree with those kind of things. So for that to be the problem to be solved in the episode, it's a little bit strange for me. And dare I say, it doesn't feel very Star Trek-y to get rid.
That was kind of what has sat with my gut as well, was, you know, what's wrong with having that other perspective. And I get the final point of this premise was that their political bloc was so successful that it did stop the US from entering World War II, which is obviously going to be hugely problematic because they were such a military superpower at that time. But are you telling me there weren't that this political party or bloc or whatever it was that she helps to form couldn't help with some more diplomatic perspectives towards things other than you know, seeing the killing of all these people? So that was a hard perspective as well, Kelvin. I'll absolutely agree with you on that.
Yeah, when we're used to seeing a brighter future, this was a very dystopian of, okay, here's what's happened, and then a very, you know, negative dystopian view of the future.
Well, this reminds me of Strange New Worlds when, like, La'an, they do have that time travel with Kirk, and they go back, and she has the opportunity to essentially, like, kill Khan or make sure that Khan dies, and she saves him, knowing that he causes some destruction in the not so distant future. So it's a similar sort of moral gray area there. And I like that. It involved Kirk in both instances.
Kirk is a polarizing gray area kind of captain, so I think it's apropos that he's been involved in both of these types of storylines.
Well, my assimilation is Joan Collins. I get just so wrapped up watching her. I love how she plays the character. I'm enthralled with her. And I'm not really a Joan Collins fan. Like, I've seen her, you know, those soap operas, and I'm just like, yeah. But in this one, she stills the frame every time she's in there. It's just, my eyes gravitate towards her. I love her.
She is a national treasure. And there was a very recent episode of the Graham Norton show, and they had Patrick Stewart on at the same time as Joan Collins. And they just started having this to and fro about Star Trek. And she was just really recalling all the details of the original series and correcting everyone. And she doesn't even talk that much about, like, pride about being in Star Trek. It was just an early job in her career. But the fact that she just recalled everything and schooled Patrick Stewart, it was brilliant. And for all the gays, you know, she will be the character she was on Dynasty or Dynasty, however you guys pronounce it. And she's gone on to some other great roles since, but she is old school UK glamour. And, you know, there's not going to be a lot of people like that left when we eventually do lose her, bless her. So yeah, we love her.
There was also some, I looked into some articles written on this, and I guess even up until recently when she was doing conventions and everything, she's always surprised with how many people approach her just to talk about this episode. Not anything else in her repertoire of work. They want to talk about her time on Trek, and she's like, I never expected this tiny little whatever sci-fi episode that I happened to be on 60 some odd years ago to be that impactful, but here we are. So I think that not only shows the legacy that Trek was always meant to have, but also just how impactful this particular episode and her character was.
Other assimilations?
An assimilation I'll give again, it's to Joan Collins' character, is when they're all complaining, oh, well, if you want to eat, you have to listen to her talk and all this type of stuff. In the first place I went, Amy, was because, again, the childhood growing up in the churches, I thought she was going to get up and start reading scripture. And so I'm sitting there just like, oh no, here we go. Because a lot of those gospel missions tend to be like church based and church funded. And so then she just gets up and starts talking like H.G. Wells and all of this sci-fi future, and we're going to go to space. I'm like, oh, never mind. I take it all back. That was phenomenal. Just,
yeah.
Could you imagine that that's what your that's placed before you in that type of a situation? I just thought it was so funny, just so random, but it's perfect.
Nice. Yeah.
I thought it was great that the sets, I love when they go back to, old New York and recycle those sets. So it made me feel like I was watching like West Side Story or whatever. It's just that they were using the old like Paramount backlot, and it made me think, I wish Star Trek was going back to the 20s and 30s again. They haven't done that, I think, since Voyager was the last one, when they were back, or that time period. But it'd be fun to see like a modern Trek go back and explore that genre. I think it would be fun.
Well, moving on to trivia, that set that you're talking about was used for the Andy Griffith Show. When Kirk is walking with Edith Killer, you can see they pass by the courthouse and Floyd's barbershop.
Robert H. Justman confirmed that this episode was written to have a contemporaneous anti-Vietnam War movement as a subtext. So clearly that was a bit too close to the knuckle at the time, and they swapped it out for World War II. That's interesting.
You can definitely see the overall just commentary on war happening in this. So this is also the most expensive episode to make. It cost $246,000 USD. Whew. On average, a regular episode would only cost about $190,000. So that is a lot of money, especially in the 1960s. I mean, we're thinking about how much that would have been worth back then. In part, the additional cost came because they wanted a few days over scheduling, and they went 8 days over 6. So
the title of this episode refers to both the dead city on the Time planet and New York itself, where the timeline will either be restored or disrupted. In Ellison's original script, Kirk, upon first seeing the city sparkling like a jewel on a high mountaintop, reverently says it looks like a city on the edge of forever. In Ellison's first treatment for this episode, the city they traveled back in time to was Chicago.
Oh.
I really liked this. Joan Collins credits her then 4-year-old daughter, Tara, for her decision to appear in Star Trek. Having never heard of the show before, she told her children, Tara and Alexander, about the offer, and Tara enthusiastically encouraged her to appear. Oh,
well, thank you, Tara.
Yes.
See, one person has a big effect on the future, right?
Oh my goodness,
Little
right
bitty
there.
Tara didn't say, Mommy, do it. We wouldn't be here today talking about this for all of our wonderful listeners.
See, Amy, one person can change the future.
Wow.
And Joan may not have had the career that she's gone on to if she hadn't done this so early on. So everything connects.
And just taking that back real quick, Kelvin, to play on that, when I read William Shatner's autobiography, there was something that he wrote in there that I found really interesting. And again, I know Shatner can be a bit of a polarizing gent, but he said that he never turned down a job. When he wanted to get into acting, anything that paid to come his way, he took. And he credits the fact that he took every little thing that came his way. He made his connections. He got known in the community. And that is what eventually led to where we are today. So I think it's really interesting to look at the tiniest little decision that you make in your life can have a big impact on your future.
Yeah, that's work ethic right there, isn't it?
That is a work ethic. And I remember the funniest thing he said is, my goal was to one day have $1,500 in my bank account. I think he's achieved that. So the footage seen through the time portal is, for the most part, lifted from old Paramount Pictures and RKO Picture films. It should be noted, though, that the Desilu had not yet been acquired by Paramount's holding company, Gulf and Western, at the time, and that the use of these clippings in the episode essentially constituted a copyright infringement in current understanding. Wow. I wonder where they got all those clips from and how they had access to all that film footage.
They stole it.
Well, they stole the one. They stole. Yeah. So those are all old movies that I'm wondering if anyone out there has ever gone through and named each movie that's shown through. I'm sure there is. But that would be really interesting to look at, is, you know, what movies are actually being clipped.
I mean, there are Trek fans out there that literally counting the deck plating on the NX Enterprise to see if it matches up. So, I mean, yes, somebody's done it.
I would like to point out for the record, I have not.
Sounded like a Kelvin thing.
That continuity has to stay going, right?
Absolutely. Okay, so the stock footage shot outside with Kirk and Spock's flop, seen after the homeless man accidentally kills himself with McCoy's phaser, shows the sign for a nuclear fallout shelter on it. There were, however, no nuclear weapons in 1930. Ooh, that's amazing trivia. I've never noticed that continuity error.
That's right up your alley, hey, Kelvin. You're like,
well, continuity, not nuclear weapons.
No, that's what I meant. Sorry.
We're prepping you for another episode of Trexperts Quiz.
Also, that poor guy who shoots himself with the phaser. That just remember, everybody, be careful with firearms.
Yeah, and hypo sprays. There's a lot of health and safety gone wrong in this episode.
Oh my gosh, seriously. Someone would have some workers' compensation claims to make through this. And the fight poster advertising Kid McCook and Mike Mason's bout was also used in a 5th season episode of The Lucy Show entitled Lucy, the Fight Manager, which aired on the 20th of February, 1967. It can be seen on Lucy's living room wall, which had been decorated with it and other boxing paraphernalia so that a former boxer could train for his comeback at her house.
Okay, so I needed to throw this in here because that just means that the Lucy Show is in the Star Trek canon as being part of Star Trek. So all of the Lucy Show is now Star Trek canon. Also, Lucy brought Star Trek to the screen. Without her, we would be nothing.
Exactly. And I think that people sometimes forget the importance that Lucille Ball plays in the Star Trek universe. And so I do, Mark, that was an amazing piece of trivia to add in to show the connection. And sorry if I read it and you wanted to have that joy.
Oh, it's fine.
Okay, I just saw it next on the list and I was like, so.
No, I threw my 2 cents in. We're good.
Perfect. It was more like
yeah. Well, let's get to our final thoughts and ask, is this now your favorite time travel? So previously we have covered Voyager's Time and Again, Enterprise Stormfront, DS9 Little Green Men, and Trials and Tribulations, the animated series Yesteryear, and Prodigy's Time and Muck, and then TOS Assignment Earth. So, Mark, let's start with you.
It would be very hard to top DS9's Trials and Tribulations. It's always going to win. I don't care what you throw at it with time travel. That one's always going to win. But there has been some good ones in there. Actually, the animated series Yesteryear is one that I go back to and I watch regularly. It's a standout as one of the best episodes of the animated series, and one that holds up as well as any TOS episode, or holds up as well as a lot of really good treks. So that one's a good one as well. And Little Green Men, come on. Oh, but anyway, there's a lot of good ones, but I'll go with Trials and Tribulations.
I'm going to. Oh, sorry, Kristin. We
go.
really need to take a number. We're not used to having this many people on. We need to take a number, don't we? You go for ladies first.
Oh, thank you. I was just going to say, did you notice that there's no TNG episodes on here? Picard knew to respect the temporal timeline. I just wanted to say that. And I again, Trials and Tribulations. I believe when we all did the episode on All Good Things for Time and Again, I believe everybody picked Trials and Tribulations as their favorite on that episode. But I'm still gonna stick with my favorite, which is The Little Green Men. I love that episode. It's so stupid and it's just perfect.
I'm going to be quite analytical here and separate out my favorite episode to kind of a who did it better subject matter. And I know we've had a bit of a flurry of original series reviews recently with Kristin and Christos always getting those ones there. And we always reference that, is the original often the best, because it set everything in motion. Mark, you've just gone on about Yesteryear, which is basically a sequel to this featuring the Guardian. So I'm actually going to say, who am I to argue with all of the fans out there who mark this as such a high quality, potentially best ever TOS episode? I'm going to give it to City on the Edge of Forever. I think it introduces this fabulous discussion we've just had, Amy, of can one person change the future that much? The tragedy of having to let them die, and just a cool time travel. We probably wouldn't have got Back to the Future as a film trilogy without this episode. It's very similar. I'm giving it to this. Good choice.
All right. Well, yeah. Who did do it better? That is a tough question, because this episode definitely highlights time travel. Like, this is, I do love it. Everyone knows it. Again, love Joan Collins. But my favorite still is going to be Prodigy Time Amok. Like, just the way that they analyzed time travel. This is a good basic time travel. Let's go back, fix it. Oh, it went wrong. So we got to accept, So I give it for what it's worth, but I'm still sticking with Prodigy's Time Amok.
Also, Kelvin, I want to go back to what you just said about we probably wouldn't have got Back to the Future without these types of episodes sort of setting the stage for the idea of time travel. Don't forget that the guy, Doc Brown, moves on to play Klingon in Star Trek 3, and they go back in time in his ship. So Doc Brown is very impactful in this universe as well.
The similarities are there.
What shows are on BQN, you ask? Well, here's a rundown of some podcasts you might be interested in. All Good Things, a Star Trek Universe podcast covering all of Trek, hosted by Amy, Mark, Christos, Kelvin, and Kristin. Whether you've got Xbox or Nintendo, check out Bargain Bin Gamer, a YouTube show hosted by Davey, a self-proclaimed gamer who specializes in reviewing and showcasing affordable video games. 2 episodes enter the arena, 1 comes out victorious. Join hosts Joe and Kevin, and a guest, as they debate which should win the Batleth battle. Grab your popcorn as you listen to Cinema Z, a film discussion and review podcast showcasing films you probably missed, but should definitely check out. Hosted by Mark and Matt. Don your apron for The Food Replicator, where Matthew eats and drinks his way through the Star Trek cocktail and 3 cookbooks. Beam aboard Galaxy Class, a Star Trek Next Generation podcast covering all of TNG, hosted by Stephen. In order to not repeat it, listen to History with the Szilagys, a snippet of historical events from around the world, hosted by Chrissie and Jason. For the newest Trek coverage, check out Infinite Diversity, hosted by Chrissie and Thad. Curl up with a good book and delve into Beta Canon with Peter, host of the online Trek Book Club on Twitter, and his new companion, Trek Book Club podcast. Test your Trek knowledge with Treksperts Quiz, a Star Trek quiz show hosted and written by Davey. Whether you're a member of Starfleet Federation or Planetary Union, go check out Union Federation, covering current Star Trek and the Orville, which we all know is really a Trek show, hosted by Kyle, Kevin, Amy, and Haley. Head over to YouTube and watch The View Screen live on Sundays, your Trek-inspired talk show hosted by Kelvin and Amy, with Season 2 starting in September for a 10-week run. Spill the tea with Christos while he discusses current Trek news and events and explores the world of fandom via guest interviews, all with a LGBTQIA+ perspective on What's the Tea Bev. And for our Patreon members, we have The Hive Mind with monthly script readings, Let's Fly, a Discovery reaction show, It's Green, a cornucopia of topics, Amy's Math Moments, a quick look at math moments in Star Trek. We know you have a choice of podcasts to choose from, and we thank you for listening to BQN. Assimilate the audio.
Kristin,
Yes.
what are we going to be talking about next week?
As somebody who loves her horror movies, this is the closest that Trek has ever got to sort of a Halloween episode. We will be watching Voyager, The Haunting of Deck 12, as part of our Fear Factor series.
Woohoo.
I disagree. The Strange New Worlds episode was pretty horrific. But anyway.
This is the first time they did it, though.
Okay.
Cutie. Oh, so cute.
My darn cats just don't know how to shush.
Love it. Well, we would love to hear what you thought of today's episode and hope you'll join our Facebook group, the BQN Collective, or on our Discord server to continue our discussion there. You can also follow the network on Bluesky and Instagram at BQN Podcasts. We have partnered with our friends at the Fandom Podcast Network, where you can find us by searching their master feed, and links can be found in the show notes. Kristin, when you're not being Lucy Ball crazy, where can people find you?
I'm always ball crazy. I mean, Lucille Ball crazy.
Where's that oh my sound effect?
Quite partial myself.
Oh my. You can find me on Instagram at kstrats. You can find me on Facebook with the BQN Collective, and I am on Reddit at user Garrick's Fan Club, and that's where I am online. And Mark, where can people find you when you're not accidentally injecting yourself with a very, very strong narcotic?
Accidentally.
Well, when I'm not doing that, you guys can find me in the BQN Collective Facebook group. You guys can also find me on Cinema Z, my film discussion and review podcast here on the network. I do with my friend Matt Jennings. And you guys can find me occasionally on Blue Sky. Blue Sky's cool. Check it out. It's open to everybody now. Okay. And Kelvin, where can people find you when you are not sneaking up a fire escape to steal some laundry?
You said laundry or lingerie. Either way, it doesn't paint a good image. When I'm not stealing lingerie, you can find me in the BQN Collective Facebook group over on Discord, or you can come directly for me at Kelvin's Timeline on the socials. And so, Miss Amy Nelson, where can people find you when you are not being Madam of the Mission for disadvantaged gays?
Oh, I would love to do that. You can find me here in the network where I'm co-hosting with the Union Federation. I'm going to be, you can find us on the view screen starting in September. I am in our Facebook group, BQN Collective, and on the Discord server. Loving it over there. That's going to be the best place to find me.
If you'd like to help us keep all of our shows coming to you each week, you can become a patron of the network on Patreon. For just $1 a month, you can join our Let's Fly reaction show of script readings, enjoy our special patron-only shows of It's Green and Amy's Math Moments. Visit patreon.com/BQN to get all the details and then watch your messages.
And if you are not able, for whatever reason, to support the show financially, you can still support the show by sharing our posts on social media, talking about it with your friends, or hitting the subscribe button on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get podcasts, and leave us a star rating and written review, because this helps others to find the show. We promise. So like, share, subscribe, guys.
And at this time, we would like to thank our very own associate producers, Mahendran Radhakrishnan and JJ Seastrum. A special thanks to Graham Kelly for our opening and closing music, and Mark White for our lovely artwork each and every week.
Thank you for listening.
We sincerely hope you'll join us
as we search out
all good things.
I'm hoping Christos, since he is there, will be doing What's the T-Bab and give us a... Oh, he's not there.
I don't think he is. I think he's away with
right.
work. Yeah.
Yeah, he said he wasn't going this year.
Oh.
I'm raging. I wanted him to pick up some merchandise for me.
All right, I'll edit that out. So, oh, Kristin. Oh, I don't know why I can't hear you.
Yeah, you don't seem to be on mute. Try muting and unmuting.
This is ground control to Kristin.
How's that?
Yay!
Okay, I think my mic died. That's okay.
Oh, okay.
No, I didn't charge it. So, okay. Listeners, if I sound slightly different, it's because my mic just died. So, yeah.
Guys, is this time travel 9 or 8?
It's 9.
Thanks. Want to make sure I get the artwork done for you. Okay. Do you want me to read the next one?
Yeah.
Okay. And this. So am I doing the title of this episode?
Yes.
Okay. That's what I thought.